difficult or impossible to probe, and curled up, if you will, dimensions that we don't generally encounter or experience. But string theory requires it. And we ask whether this 9 number, the 9 total spatial dimensions, has any more meaning. Does it have better intuitive meaning or deeper meaning that we can latch onto? And unfortunately, I believe the answer is no. It's not really very intuitive that it requires 9 spatial dimensions, but it's more of a mathematical reason why it demands it. Okay, as in demands the 9 spatial reasons. Oh, demands the 9 spatial dimensions, not reasons. Demands the 9 spatial dimensions. So we will see more about this from the book The Elegant Universe by Brian Greene, an author and string theorist. So hang tight as we do this reading just now. Isabel says, yes, I have been here before. I hope you're having a great day as well. Thank you, Isabel. Please do enjoy and stay on. So some questions is what he has named this section. First, why does string theory require the particular number of 9 spatial dimensions to avoid nonsensical probability values? Now, remember, this nonsensical probability values that he's mentioning here has to do with quantum mechanics. Because string theory as a grand unified theory candidate, like I was mentioning, has to contain quantum mechanics as well as general relativity and give us sensible quantum mechanics answers. If we see it giving us instead some nonsensical probabilities, then that would not be good. And they saw that they need the 9 spatial dimensions. So this is probably the hardest question in string theory to answer without appealing to mathematical formalism. A straightforward string theory calculation reveals this answer, but no one has an intuitive, non-technical explanation for the particular number that emerges. This is what I was afraid of, is that I don't think, like as far as I know, I don't think that there is sort of a non-technical, intuitive, insightful type of reason for the 9 spatial dimensions. I do believe, unfortunately, it's a very mathematical and technical outcome or really requirement of string theory. The physicist Ernest Rutherford once said, in essence, that if you can't explain a result in simple non-technical terms, then you don't really understand it. He wasn't saying that this means your result is wrong. Rather, he was saying that it means you do not fully understand its origin, meaning, or implications. So Rutherford had mentioned, this is part of the sort of criticism of string theory, is that if you're saying you need this 9 spatial dimensions, but you cannot give a simple answer without doing a bunch of math on the board as to why, then maybe you don't understand it. Now, the author is saying, well, that could be. Maybe they don't understand. Maybe string theorists don't fully understand string theory. It's possible, but that does not necessarily mean that that's wrong. It could just be that they just don't get it fully to the point where they can explain the 9 spatial dimensions in a more intuitive way, okay? So perhaps this is true regarding the extra-dimensional character of string theory. In fact, let's take this opportunity to brace parenthetically for a central aspect of the second superstring revolution that we will discuss in chapter 12. The calculation underlying the conclusion that there are 10 space-time dimensions, so the 9 space plus the 1 time dimension, making it 10 space-time. So once again, general relativity is 4 space-time with just the 3 space plus 1 time. And string theory, this string theory, superstring theory, is 10 space-time, okay? So this turns out to be approximate. In the mid-1990s, Witten, so this is Ed Witten, based on his own insights and previous work by Michael Duff from Texas A&M University and Chris Hall and Paul Townsend from Cambridge University, gave convincing evidence that the approximate calculation actually misses 1 space dimension. Gosh. String theory, he argued to most string theorists' amazement, actually requires 10 space dimensions and 1 time dimension for a total of 11 dimensions. So now, after all of the digestion that we had to do about the 9 space dimensions and 1 time dimension, making it 10 space-time, some people are suggesting with their evolved work